My name is Milton Drake. I'm 61 years old, and for most of my life, I've been the guy who fixes things. Machines, fences, people. I spent 35 years at Drexler Steel, keeping the line moving while the world outside my hometown fell apart. Now I'm the widowed father no one listens to, the retired man no one checks in on, and the grandfather people only remember when they need free babysitting. My daughter-in-law, Cressida, is everything I'm not. Young, ambitious, ruthless, the kind of woman who calls you useless while smiling like she's doing you a favor. I've never belonged in their world of smart homes, side hustles, and sterile perfection. But last Tuesday, she made one mistake. She told me I don't do anything anymore, right before leaving her 3 kids on my porch and vanishing to Miami. What she didn't know was that I had just decided to sell the house. Her house. The call came at 6:47 a.m., sharp as a razor. Milton, no good morning, no pause, no breath. I'm flying out tonight. The kids will be dropped off by 10. Snacks are packed. You'll be fine. I stood barefoot in the kitchen, blinking at the blinking microwave. Excuse me? Cressida's voice got colder. Don't do that thing where you act confused. You don't work. You're not dying. You're the perfect candidate, so don't screw this up. Then she hung up. There's a kind of silence that follows certain calls, a silence that wraps around your throat, not your ears. I looked at the dented coffee maker, the yellowed calendar on the fridge. I told myself I didn't mind. I had space. I had time. But the truth, I had nothing they needed. Not until now. I reached for the file folder that had been sitting on the kitchen table for weeks, still sealed, marked Property Reassessment, Insurance Adjustment. I opened it. Jacob's name, Cressida's, mine, scratched out. A sticky note on the last page, updated per April request. I hadn't made any April request. Cut scene. I was on the porch now, sweat on my neck, though the air was still. Across the street, Mrs. Hargrove's motion light flickered off and on again. Someone watching. No, just paranoia. Or not. I called Jacob, straight to voicemail. Hey, it's me. Listen, your wife. She just called. Says she's dropping the kids off for 2 weeks. We should talk. Also, about the house. Call me. I didn't believe he'd call back. I wasn't wrong. By noon, I'd emptied out the old metal filing cabinet in the back room. I needed the original deed, any record of transfer. Nothing. Then the power flickered. Once. Twice. The lamp by the armchair turned itself off. Then back on. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 3:14 a.m., I opened the freezer to grab ice. A shadow crossed the window. I flicked on the porch light. Nothing. But the morning newspaper was already there, folded perfectly, delivered early. Hadn't paid for the paper in 3 years. I sat at the kitchen table again. Folder open. Documents lined up like evidence. You know the thing about getting older. They think it makes you softer, slower. But the truth is, you just stop playing nice. I stared at the folder. They took my name off the deed. I'm not just unwanted. I'm disposable. She dropped them off like dry cleaning. Didn't even get out of the car. The SUV idled at the curb, engine purring, windows tinted too dark for early morning. The back door popped open with a mechanical hiss. 3 backpacks hit the concrete. Then came the kids. Orion, Luna, Ezra, eyes puffy. No breakfast, no goodbye kiss. Cressida didn't wave, didn't roll the window down. She just flicked her sunglasses on and drove off like she was late for brunch with Satan. I stood on the porch, hands trembling, not from the weight of 3 children, but from the silence that followed her exit. Ezra sniffled once. Luna clutched her stuffed raccoon like it might bite her. Orion stared straight ahead like he'd memorized a script and was terrified to forget a line. Inside, the air felt heavier. They didn't say much. Sat on the couch, legs tucked under, silent like trained birds. I made toast, burned the first batch. No one complained. That kind of silence ain't normal for kids. It's taught, conditioned, like waiting for a door to slam. I thought you liked chocolate milk, I said, offering it to Ezra. Mama says it makes us hyper. Hyper kids don't get love. My hand froze midair. Cutscene. 10 minutes later, I found the envelope, wedged in Luna's backpack, behind a dog-eared coloring book. If anything happens, typed across the top. Checklists, emergency contacts, allergy notes, legal guardianship disclaimers, all unsigned, but one section caught me, behavioral red flags. Grandpa seems confused. Grandpa yells. Grandpa might forget to feed us. My name, in bold, pre-written, anticipated. She wasn't dumping the kids on me. She was setting a stage, and I was the fall guy. I called Jacob again, straight to voicemail. Left no message this time. No point. Later that afternoon, Orion lingered near the kitchen doorway, watching me. I wiped the counter with the same dish towel I've had for 20 years. The pattern's gone, just faded lines where there used to be color. "You okay, kiddo?" I asked. He hesitated, then whispered, "Mom said, if you get angry, we call the number." "What number?" His fingers dug into his pockets, pulled out a small yellow sticky note, folded. I opened it. A phone number, no name. I called. 1 ring. 2. Click. Then a man's voice. Calm. No accent. 7 days, Milton. The line went dead. I dropped the phone, cold sweat crawling down my spine. There was no voicemail, no redial. Burner. Later that night, I checked the locks 3 times. Then the shed. Then the basement. Then again. Cressida had rewritten me in their lives like I was a problem to solve, a glitch to patch, the kind of man who would slip, snap, and land in jail while she cashed in sympathy. I'd seen that play before. I just never thought I'd be the lead. Ezra cried in his sleep. I tucked him in, pulled the blanket higher. When I turned off the light, I caught my own reflection in the hallway mirror. Older, hollowed, but not broken. Not yet. 3:12 a.m. The motion light outside flickered on. I stepped into the dark hallway, barefoot, silent. The back door creaked. Not opened, just shifted. A breeze or cutscene. I waited 5 minutes, crouched near the hallway table, phone in one hand, crowbar in the other. Nothing. I opened the door, stepped onto the porch. Silence. Grass wet. Air still. But someone had moved the trash bin 5 feet from where I left it. I used to think patience was a virtue, a sign of strength. Now I know it's a countdown, a fuse disguised as a personality trait. Inside the kitchen, I opened the liquor cabinet, pushed the bottles aside, pulled out a manila envelope, opened it. Inside, property files I hadn't touched since Claire died, deed transfers, mortgage updates, insurance schedules, and a single line in black ink scrawled in the margin of a printout from 6 months ago. Transfer confirmed. Drake removed from title by spouse authorization. Claire's name was used. Claire had been dead 2 years. I didn't hear the knock at first. It came again, sharper. I opened the front door. No one there, just an envelope on the mat. Typed, plain, no stamp. Milton Drake. You have been monitored. I read it twice. Then again. They weren't just watching the house. They were watching me. She's not just leaving them with me. She's setting me up. Rain clung to the edges of the sky like it was scared to fall. I drove to Ramey's office with the folder tucked under my arm, heart pounding harder than the engine. It was an old brick box across from a pawn shop, wedged between a laundromat and a defunct bakery. No sign, no window display. Just a crooked doorbell and her name scribbled in Sharpie on duct tape. Ramey Ortiz opened the door with a half-raised brow. "Tell me this is about murder," she said, because I could use the practice. Inside, the lights flickered, not from power, from age. The whole place smelled like scorched paper and peppermint tea. She pointed at the chair opposite her desk and poured me black coffee. "I need to know if I still own my house," I said. Rami squinted. "Is that a trick question or a stroke?" I slid the documents across the desk. She didn't speak for a full 30 seconds. Then she exhaled like someone dropped a piano on her. This isn't good. Cutscene. She opened her laptop, cross-checked parcel numbers, searched through the county assessor's site. Milton, your name's been off this for 7 months. I didn't breathe. Transferred to Jacob, she continued, then redeeded to Cressida 6 weeks later, using this. She turned the paper around. Forged power of attorney. Signed with my name, my dead wife's initials as witness. My blood felt like rust. There are 2 ways this could happen, she said. 1, they faked it and hoped you'd never check. 2, they had someone on the inside. Back door, window open. You always hear the burglar before you see him. I leaned forward. So what now? You want your name back on this house. You'd need to prove the document was forged, that your identity was misused. File a motion, start discovery. That's 6 months of hell. Best case. I don't have 6 months. Then you need leverage. We were interrupted by a knock. Not the door, the window. We both turned. No one there. Rami got up fast, peered out the blinds. Nothing. But I saw it. A shadow vanishing across the sidewalk. Black hoodie. Slow stride. Confident. Someone wasn't just watching. They were waiting. Back at home, I checked the mailbox. A white envelope was wedged deep behind junk ads. No return address. Inside, a photo of the house from across the street. Night shot. Grainy. Flash caught the curtains. I looked closer. Through the living room window. My silhouette. Mid-step. Whoever took this was standing in the dark, 20 feet from my family. At dinner, Luna didn't eat. I asked what was wrong. She stared into her plate. Why don't we live here all the time, she asked. It's nicer, quieter. Ezra chimed in. Mama says this house is just for now. She's gonna fix everything soon. Fix. That word sat like a shard in my chest. After they slept, I opened the envelope again. Looked at the angle of the photo. North side, between the tree and the mailbox. No cameras face that angle. I stepped outside, flashlight in hand. The grass was disturbed, bent, like someone had stood there. Recently, I traced the line to the edge of the fence. A boot print in the mud. Large, deep, patterned. Then I saw it. A second envelope, this one sealed in plastic. Hidden under a stone. Inside, a USB drive. And a typed note. 7 days. Sell the house, or we will. I plugged it into my laptop with a towel wrapped around my hand, as if that would stop whatever virus they loaded on it. Only one file, a video. It opened with no intro, just surveillance footage, grainy black and white, inside my own living room. Time-stamped, yesterday. It showed me walking past the kids, making toast, reading a newspaper. I hit pause, looked at the corner of the frame, small red dot. Recording indicator. The angle was wrong. Not from my laptop, not from any known camera. Hidden, planted. Rami called just as I yanked the drive out. I ran a cross-reference on the parcel ID. Guess what? A shell company tried to initiate a private offer on your house 3 weeks ago. I stared at the black screen. They didn't use your name, Milton. They used Cressida's. And get this, the buyers listed as Mercer Holdings. Mercer. That name hit me like a trap snapping shut. It's Silas Mercer. I'd seen it once. On a cheap sign staked in the lawn of a house that vanished 2 weeks later. No listing, no sale, just gone. Your house, Rami said, is already halfway sold. You just haven't been told. They think I'm the weak one. Let's see how they handle war. I didn't sleep. I waited. Every flick of the curtain, every creak of the floorboards, every breath felt like borrowed time. The morning sun didn't rise. It leaked in, gray and cold and wrong. At 8:17 a.m., I walked into a small real estate office on Hudson Street, one of those shops wedged between a vape store and a payday loan center. The woman behind the counter was young, lip gloss too shiny, eyes too bored. Her name tag read Bree. I slid a copy of the property ID across the counter. This house. Can you tell me if there's a private buyer? She typed with one finger, cracked gum like gunfire. Nothing pending, she said. No shell companies? She shrugged. If they used a blind LLC, we don't see that till closing. Cutscene. Back at home, I found Ezra coloring at the dining table. He looked up. Mom says you don't like people in your house. People? I asked. He pointed at the living room window. I saw a man last night, standing in the yard, just standing. My stomach twisted. Did he knock? Ezra shook his head. Did he have a phone? No, Ezra said, but he waved. I checked the camera feed. 2 clips missing. Between 2:11 a.m. and 3:03 a.m. Nothing. Just a black jump cut. The shed. I grabbed the crowbar and headed out. Door was ajar. Inside, tools undisturbed, shelves intact, except for the floor. Right in the center, like it had been placed for a photo shoot, was a manila folder. Dry, not dusty, fresh. I crouched, flipped it open, color photocopies, legal documents, my signature, Jacob's, even Claire's, dated 2 years after her death. Forgery, but someone had highlighted Jacob's name. Twice. Cutscene. Rami picked up on the 3rd ring. They've got your son wrapped into this, I said. She swore under her breath. You're telling me she forged your dead wife's name? That's federal. No, I said. I'm telling you Jacob signed off on it. Willingly. There's a special kind of betrayal when your own blood sees you as a stepping stone. Rami breathed hard. There's another layer, she said. I traced the email used for the initial buyer inquiry, Mercer Holdings. My grip tightened. Silas Mercer, I muttered. He's a ghost. Not anymore, Rami said. The county recorder has a pre-escrow form, dated last week. Buyer signed it, but the seller wasn't Cressida. Who then? You. Everything stopped. There's a forged sale authorization form using your name, she said, with a signature that matches the property reassignment I saw last week. She paused. And Milton. It's dated 2 months ago. 2 months. I hadn't even seen the kids in that time, but the sale was already in motion. My name, my house, stolen in slow motion. My mouth went dry. They're selling it. With or without me. They're almost done, Rami said. Once it closes, it's gone. I looked out the window. The SUV was back. 2 houses down, idling, headlights off, engine hot, watching. Inside the kitchen, Orion sat with a juice box. Silent. You okay? I asked. He blinked. Mom says you get mad when you feel trapped. I sat beside him. Did she say anything else? He nodded. She said not to tell you about the suitcase. I froze. What suitcase? He pointed to the hallway closet. I opened it. Behind old coats and mothballs was a navy blue roller bag, unzipped. Inside cash bundles, 10s, 20s, 100s, stacked, rubber banded, labeled with dates. One envelope read, Deposit Mercer, Cutscene. The front doorbell rang. I stepped to the side before peeking. No one, but a package waited. Same plastic seal, same typed label. Inside, 3 items. A disposable phone, a photo of me at the kitchen table, and a note. We're closer than you think. Tick-tock. I turned off all the lights. Sat in the dark, phone in my hand, crowbar at my feet. No answers. Just war drums in my chest. If they want this house so badly, I'll sell it myself. And bury whoever comes for the money. I sold the house at 2:43 p.m. on a Wednesday. No champagne, no handshake. Just a digital transfer, a shaky signature, and a quiet woman with a gray laptop saying, Congratulations. The office was in a strip mall that smelled like chlorine and despair. The carpet squished when I stepped. One of the ceiling tiles had collapsed, revealing pipes wrapped in moldy insulation. This wasn't a place for closing dreams. It was a place for ending nightmares. The woman never gave her name. Only initials. KR. She pulled up the e-docs, showed me the title history. My name was back on the deed, thanks to Rami's motion filed 2 days prior. An emergency stopgap. This is temporary, she'd warned. You have one shot to flip it before they bury you in red tape again. I clicked, signed, transferred the deed to a buyer she'd vetted, a trust fund in a faraway county. No trace to me. The house was gone, but I was still inside it. I drove home through the rain, wipers ticking like a metronome. My heart matched the rhythm. Orion met me at the door. Where were you? Trying to protect what's ours. His brow furrowed. Is it still ours? For a second, I had no answer. Cut scene. I called Rami from the garage. My hands still smelled like toner and sweat. It's done, I said. Closed. Legal. Filed. Good, she said. Because they're escalating. She forwarded me an email flagged from her server. Anonymous tip to Child Protective Services, accusing me of abandonment, emotional abuse, and mental instability. Filed that morning. Attached screenshots of me yelling at shadows, talking to myself in the dark, footage from inside my house. You're being erased from 2 sides, she said, legally and psychologically. If this sticks, they can claim the house was sold under duress. I laughed. Dry. Cold. They should have studied me better, I said. You push a man long enough, he doesn't break, he burns. 10:11 p.m. The kids were asleep. My phone buzzed. A message from Jacob. We need to talk. You're making it worse. I stared at it for 5 full minutes. Replied, talk now, or I call the cops. His reply, don't. You don't know everything. Meet me. 10 minutes. Dad's old welding shop. Come alone. Cut scene. The welding shop was long dead. Rusted panels, broken windows. The parking lot flooded from the rain. I parked under the flickering streetlight. Jacob stepped out of the shadows, hoodie up, face pale. I never wanted this, he said. Then why'd you sign it? He flinched. She said it was temporary, that we'd reverse it after the taxes cleared, that you wouldn't notice. She forged your dead mother's name. He swallowed. I didn't know that part. Silence. He rubbed his face. She's scared. She owes people. Mercer isn't just a buyer. He's leverage. There's money laundered through... A noise behind us. Metal shifted. A door creaked. We both froze. Did you come alone? I asked. He nodded. I didn't believe him. Flashlight beam. Fast. Bright. It scanned the parking lot. Then us. Then off. Van doors slammed. Tires screeched. Gone. Jacob stepped back. Hands up. They're watching everything. You don't get it. If you push this, they won't just ruin you. They'll take the kids. They already tried. I threw something at him. The burner phone. He caught it, looked confused, then horrified. His finger shook. You recorded this? I leaned in. No, they did. And they left it behind. On purpose. To warn me. I pointed to the lot. You brought them here. No, I didn't know they'd follow. They're already inside the plan, Jacob, and they're ahead of you. I left him standing there, wet, speechless. Back home, the house was too quiet. Luna was gone, her stuffed raccoon on the couch, her shoes still by the door. I searched the entire house in 60 seconds. No window broken, no alarm triggered, but the back door was cracked. Orion pointed, voice shaking. She said she was going to the mailbox. Alone? He nodded. I ran outside. No one, no car, no Luna. My phone buzzed. Block number, 1 line of text. You took the house. Now we take something too. Where are the kids, Cressida? Milton whispered, just as a floorboard creaked behind him. They said it was over, but endings in this world are just shadows waiting to sharpen. The burner phone buzzed. A video, black and white, grainy. 3 small faces, hushed, wide-eyed, confused. Location, abandoned steel mill, 2 towns over. Time, tonight. Rain tapped the windows. Lightning slashed the sky. I grabbed my jacket, Rami's number in one hand, flashlight in the other. This time, I went for the truth. The mill gate groaned on its hinges. Metal on metal. Inside, silence. Except for dripping water. Echoes. My footsteps kicked up dust. Concrete walls. Rusted catwalks. The smell of oil and old blood. Then lights flickered. Old fluorescent tubes. Buzzing. A door creaked open at the far end. 3 shadows. Little shapes moving slowly. I barked, "Car, kids, come out." Silence. I clicked the flashlight higher. Spotlight on the concrete floor. Small shoes. Toys. A sticky note stuck to a beam. "Good boy, Grandpa. You came." Camera slow. Heart pounding so loud I could hear it. Suddenly, a gun's click. Low. Mechanical. Then a rush. A man darted from behind a column. Flashlight spun. I raised my crowbar. First instinct. He fired. Bullet rattled a metal crate near my feet. I felt the wind push past my ear. Adrenaline cut sharp. I dove behind an old forklift. Engine hissed. Metal groaned. Gun cocked again. A voice. Calm. "Drop the weapons. Leave the kids, or one of us dies tonight." I exhaled. Slow. Angry. I stepped out. My hands empty. Fine. But I saw movement behind. Kids. Frozen. Frightened. I took a step forward. Another. Rainwater pooled at my boots. I raised my voice. "You want the house? It's gone. You want revenge? You got it. But you don't get to hurt children to do it." Silence. The man's shadow flicked on the concrete. Then he lowered the gun. Slowly. He walked forward. Rain. Echo. The flashlight caught his face. Not a thug. A lawyer. Firm suit. Tight collar. Eyes cold. He held out a folder. Paper in plastic wrap. Documents. Title transfers. The true buyer. Not Mercer Holdings. Not Cressida. A newly formed non-profit foundation. One set up just last month. Sole trustee. Cressida Vance. Twist final. She lied. She wasn't trying to cash out. She was trying to own the kids. They planned to declare the house a safe house under the foundation. Keep the kids there. Tie up custody. Sell it to launder money later. Kids as currency. I stared at the folder, flicked it open. Paper rustled. My stomach dropped like a gravestone. I looked at the lawyer. "You stole her kids," I said. He nodded. "They're at Court Street Shelter, waiting on the warrant." Siren. Far, but loud. Growing. Floodlights snapped on above the mill yard. Police cars surrounded the building. Helicopter overhead. Red and blue strobes in the rain. I shielded Orion. He squeezed my side. Trembling. I held him. "Safe now," I whispered. Cutscene. At dawn, I stood outside the house we sold. Empty. Windows dark. Wind cold. The kids in the back seat. Ezra snoring. Luna cradling the raccoon. Orion staring out of the window. Wide awake. Watchful. I whispered to myself, "We don't rebuild with stones. We rebuild with truth." Months later, on a quiet Sunday, I taped a new lease for an apartment to the front door. Kids drawn a crooked "Welcome Home" sign with colored pencil. I found it nailed beside the peephole. They didn't say "Grandpa's house," just "Our home." That afternoon, over cold lemonade on the screen porch, I told them, "Nobody gets to define who we are. Not by deeds, not by paper, not by fear." And I believed it. As I watched Luna chase fireflies into the dusk, Orion hum a song under his breath, Ezra laugh at a tickle fight. I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I know this. They are safe. I am trusted, and for the first time in a long time, I'm home. They thought I was weak. They tried to bury me in paperwork, in lies, in fear, but I survived. I stood. I protected. And now they sleep, because I kept a promise. And I want you to remember, justice isn't given, it's taken.